From the moment that I first started getting to know you, really knowing you, not just the summation of the hellos and the goodbyes and the see you laters, but truly knowing what was underneath those beautiful eyes and hid behind that broken smile, I knew that I wanted you. Every moment spent after that was just my life leading up to the culmination of us getting together and us building a future together. That's what I always believed, and I still believe. There's no other way in my mind to picture my life as anything different other than being framed in your love. A family, kids, white picket fence, and a house. That's all that anyone ever wants. And that's what most of us can never grasp. But with you, it felt different. With you, it felt like it was already within my palm of my hands. It felt like I had nothing left to work for because my entire life had led up to this moment, finding my soulmate, my twin flame, the culmination of everything I had ever been through, every personality trait that I never shared with anyone else, every lonely moment in high school, every relationship that had made me feel less than. You were my Prince Charming. You swooped in and saved me from all of that, and not just saved me, you cleansed me. I had nothing in my mind to worry about when I was in your arms as we looked up at the stars in the sky, and I saw a whole galaxy with just you in it. Just you and I. And the I started to fade away as you grew bigger and bigger. And unfortunately, as you grew bigger, I grew smaller, more weak, more frail, more fragile, until I became nothing at all but death itself. I was on the line between life and death, the conscious and the unconscious, the coma versus the woken, healthy patient, and nobody could save me from this borderline insanity of life that I lived with you, because I wanted to make it work. I wanted you to be my everything all the time. There was nothing else in my mind. There was no other reality. This galaxy was made from stardust that came from both you and I, our bodies before the Big Bang, and our children were going to carry on the legacy of being the star children. We encompassed the very essence of being in love. Every single thing that I felt, every nerve ending in my body, every word that I read, every song lyric that I heard, it was all because of you. It all related to you in some way or another. Everything was you. And it remained that way. It was always this way, even from the beginning. I wanted your approval. I didn't care what I thought of me, and I became a person that I did not even recognize by the time this journey with you was over. I still don't know who I am sometimes, and as I lay in bed at night, I wonder, how did I get here? I don't even remember the beginning or the end or anything about this. It feels like an endless cycle, and I've just been drifting through space looking for something that I can just barely reach, but it's slightly out of my touch. I wanted to find the range of human emotion that made me feel something, that made me want to live this life of pain, suffering, and human existence. I wanted that all to be taken away, medicated and numbed, and I wanted to be the person that you wanted me to be. I figured if I could just do that one simple thing, I would be rewarded with a lifetime of eternal happiness. And there was nothing that was going to come between me and being the perfect one for you. I became you. Everything you wanted, all the standards that you set, every trait that you loved, every trait that you hated, I was you. I was the inner workings of your brain. I was the projection of your mind's deepest insecurities. I represented every accomplishment or goal you had ever reached in your entire life, up to the moment that you received your high school diploma because I did this work for you, up till the moment you moved out because I had supported you through poverty and through endless financial struggle. I was the only family you had, and you were all that I had in the end. I pushed everything and everyone that wasn't you away. I dropped out of school. I left all of my friends behind. I wanted to be everything that you wanted me to be. But that definition kept changing. And as I tried to change with the turning of the tides and the crashing of the waves of your emotional breakdowns, I lost myself. And not only that, I lost the very essence of what makes people human. what makes us living, breathing, heart-beating creatures on this earth. I lost it all. I didn't feel anything except for pain and sorrow because I knew I was never going to be perfect for you. You were my God. You dictated every single thing that I did, every person I talked to, every person that I cut off, everything I consumed, everything I wanted to look like, everything I wore. You never directly stated any of these things. But I felt in my heart that you needed more out of me. If I just tried harder, things would be perfect. Our world would align and the stars would collide and we would have the most magical, fiery, all-encompassing love that the universe had ever seen. If I could just become the right girl for you. It keeps changing, like the wind and the leaves falling through the air in the fall breeze. It keeps changing your definition of what you want, who you wanted, when you wanted it, where you want to go. Nothing was ever for certain with you. All the stability and security I had thought I had locked into my heart with you was just gone, and I eventually woke up one day and I realized every single day of my life for a year and a half was spent in tears. Every single day, more than the culmination of all the tears in my entire lifetime. More pain than I ever thought a human being could withstand. So much pain that I wondered if I would die prematurely of a heart attack at age 18. Because I never knew how to cope with not being perfect for you. My brain couldn't handle the overload of sadness and depression and anxiety and every emotion that you made me feel. Even love. The times when you took love away as if it was a toy being taken from a stubborn child and you gave it back when I was rewarded. The punishment always followed the reward and so forth, and I could never get out of this cycle. All I ever wanted was to get to the reward if I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing myself through all of the punishments, through all of the hardship. We could just come out later and say that we did it. We made it through every hard thing. We championed relationships in our generation, and we are going to go after every single thing that anyone has ever wanted. 2.5 kids, a dog, and a house. Everything in the galaxy was going to be ours. Everything in space reminded me of you because you were space. You were interested in space, and you accompanied every bit of my time in space for those year and a half. And I never can get it back. Because the thing is, you never were an entire galaxy. You were a shallow moon drifting through this space that we call life. And you were looking for an explosion, something that would push you out of all of your biggest fears, that would give you the love you had never received as a kid, and would confirm all of your worst fears. You were looking for something that nobody can give, not even yourself. There's something so broken and damaged within you that you just damage every single thing that you touch, and everything sets on fire when you touch it, and you don't know why, and you're hurting, and you're crying, and you're in pain. You're scared. And when people get scared, they take their anger out on other people because pain is just anger. And anger is only pain in disguise, and there's no distinction between the two. The definition of anger is feeling like you've been robbed of something unfairly. And after all, isn't that what your life is based upon? You never had anything, you never had anyone, and then I come along, and I promise all of these great things until you find out I'm only human. I'm just a human drifting through this space that we call life, just like you. I'm just as broken as you, and you want to make sure that you become more broken than me. And on the way of using my body as a ladder and a stepping stool up to that point in life, you made sure that you crushed every bone I had, took the breath out of my lungs, took the electrical impulses out of my beating heart, and left me with nothing but a bleeding soul. And my soul will never be the same. There's so many pieces of it gone from all of the guys who promised the same thing. Even before you, right before you, my soul had just taken a large chunk of it with my first love. And now I consider you my first love because I never thought that I could love anything the way I loved you. I loved you more than I've ever loved anything in my entire life all put together. I loved you more than I ever loved myself. And that was the only thing I came away knowing, was that I loved you, and that I tried, and that I became you. I became every single thing that you ever wanted me to be, but in reality, you had no wishes for me. It was all for you. The center of your universe is you because you're so broken and you're so broken down and hurting, and you have so many scars that are still bleeding. And I couldn't stitch you up. I sliced myself open so many times trying to stitch you up, and I just couldn't do it, and I'm sorry. I would make a terrible nurse, a terrible doctor, because I couldn't fix your wounds. I rubbed salt in them. I reminded you of every single thing you never had. You looked at me and you were jealous of every single thing that I ever had. And I looked at you and I thought, how could I be giving him my everything and still not be enough? It's because nothing ever was enough for you. You never got what you deserved when you were a child, and that sticks with you as an adult. And you never could even reach out for the proper kind of help. When you try to rescue a dog that's been on the street for months or years, the first thing they do is lash out and try to attack and try to kill everything that comes within its path. And that's what you are. You're a very, very wounded dog. And I'm not the right kind of handler to try to reel you back in. I exercised all of my biggest skills in personality and psychology and tried to figure you out to the T. And I always asked myself the same question at the end of the day. Why? Why me? Why does he do this to me, the one person who's put in any effort at all to help him? But the answer is, there is no reason. The why becomes a how. How did he get this way? And we see that so very clearly. You may not know it now, but you have a whole galaxy in the palm of your hand, and that is my soul. And I'm sure that you will capture somebody else's someday as well. You may even gather multiple souls in the palm of your hand, and I pray that you don't crush them the way that you crushed mine, because I'm still trying to find the fragmented pieces within the space of time. I wish that I loved myself the way I loved you, and I don't think I ever will, because the love I had for you was more than space and time put together, more than quantum physics could ever describe. It was something that's intangible, something that can never be recreated, just like human genetics. There will never be another you, there will never be another me, and there will never be another love like this. And so I have to part ways with it, because if I don't, there will be no me ever again. There will just be you. And you have to find out how to be the master of your own galaxy. I cannot do this for you, or I will become you. You will swallow me whole, and there will be no Haley left. There will be nothing. No girls, no boys, no children, no adults, no elders. Just you. And that's how it's felt for me for so long. But at the edge of this black hole, I finally crawl out. I finally start to pick up the pieces of my shattered brain and my broken soul, and I put the two together and I realize just how big this hole is inside of me. I finally found a piece of my way through this path in this life. And I know that if I don't continue on this path, I will be sucked into that black hole. And you know better than anybody what happens when a black hole consumes something. I want to be here to see the other side of life. I want to be here to watch my babies grow, hold my babies in my arms before they grow old, and I want to grow old with somebody that wants to grow old with me. Somebody that builds me up instead of breaks me down, somebody that holds my hand instead of makes me frown, somebody that would never want me to cry another tear in my life if they could have their way with it. The only tears I want to cry are on my wedding day when I'm so happy to be committing to the person I will be with for the rest of my life, and I have no doubt in my mind that they feel the same. I don't want to be a dog doing tricks for treats. I don't want to have to prove myself to the man who's supposed to love me. I want to be the person that you look forward to at the end of a long day. I want to be the person that takes away all of your pain, all of your hurt, and gives you trust in return. But I can't do that for you. You're too destructive, too sharp around the edges, and I'm hurting too badly, and I'm bleeding out, and I'm about to die. You're so far from the edge of my reality, and I can't make the two spaces collide. It's not a Venn diagram. We are in contrast to each other, possibly twin flame souls, but definitely not soulmates, because we can't share the same space together equally. It becomes about me or it becomes about you, but it can't be both because we're so destructive to each other. We each want to have the bigger problem because we've never gotten the love we deserved. We never got the attention we needed for our problems. And so we need to take and steal from each other instead of begging and borrowing. We need to rob each other of the very things that make us happy in life, that make us human, that make us good daughters, sons, sisters, brothers, and everything in between. And we just become soulless, mechanical robots together, worse than roommates, but better than dead. And I'm tired of being alive being my standard because I want to live. I want to thrive. I don't just want to be alive. And I want the same for you. I want you to stop destroying, of course, but that's not in my hands, it's in yours. And I hope you find the love that you deserve someday. I hope you find your soulmate instead of your twin flame. And I hope that if there is any good God in this universe that cares about what I want and wants to give me the deepest yearnings of my soul, that when my soul is glued back together and my heart is beating again at the rhythm it should be, and when you're done destroying and you're done lashing out and you're ready to be handled with care, that we are brought back together. That's all I could ever hope for in my heart, and it's all I ever will hope for. No matter who I marry, no matter who I come across in life, there will never be another person like you. And so I can only hope and pray that the good forces of the universe meant for us to be together. But I have no control over that. All I can do is send you on your way with abundance of love and hugs and give you the medicine that you need to feel well. I'll be healing myself, and I hope to see you again in the next life.